Okay, YouTube, we're going to go on a little bit of a journey here. Today, we're talking about more the politics and the investment landscape for AI in the United States and Canada. I'm going to try my absolute best to be accurate. So, I got some sourcing here. If you're new to the channel, my name is Alex. I'm the founder of Peak Demand AI Agency in Toronto. We help everyone from solo professionals, small businesses, medium enterprise businesses, all the way up to transit systems and small government with AI automations and operations. And we serve, pretty much all of North America. We got U.S. clients, Canadian clients, and there's a stark difference between how the U.S. Observes and approaches AI and how Canada does it. If you saw my previous videos talking about adoption in municipalities, there was a lot of talk at that time for what it looked like for AI adoption for Canadians. And we are literally going so slow in adopting this technology that think tanks are quite literally observing why we're going so slow and then making those associations to our productivity and GDP in the country. So we're really far behind when it comes to tech. I think 37 at the end of this month. I've been in the digital space for more than 15 years. So I started in my early 20s, and I remember trying to start with just basic SEO services for Canadian websites. When I called Canadians for SEO services, a lot of the times I would get not interested, not interested. No, no, we don't need that. We don't need SEO. Some people called me a scammer for calling to try and provide SEO services, tech services to their company. Obviously, didn't work out too well for Canadian market. I had to find clients in the UK and the US because I thought at that time, SEO, Google, this is the new frontier and the new landscape for business development because I'd been doing sales for probably like 7 years at that time. And I want to try and figure out how to do it online. Lo and behold, I come to quickly learn that Canadians, we're not tech people at all. So much to the point where it's quite literally hurting our economy. So I wanted to show the some of the differences in approach that the leadership in countries have. Trump, and how he approaches AI. Carney, he's news. I don't even know what he's doing or what he's about. Frankly, for me, everyone who comes into the prime minister role and leaves, really, it's been the same thing for 30 years. Real estate, real estate, real estate. And hey, guys, more real estate. That's done an immeasurable amount of damage to the ability for our country to grow in terms of GDP because all of our money is locked up in real estate and loans with the banks. So we're extremely what's called illiquid in this country, and making us very what's called house poor. In the States, they're a little bit more flexible. They went through their crash during the great financial crisis in 2008, 2009. So they had their correction for housing prices. Again, they're seeing a pretty strong run up balloon, but nothing like in Canada. And so I wanted to dive into what that means for for tech adoption, AI adoption in the country, and why I believe that it is through AI that Canadians are going to be able to dig themselves out of this hole. But it's going to have to be a concerted effort across the board because as it stands now, we're careening off a cliff for our productivity. And even when we speak to business owners, it's very clear to see we don't spend money on tech here. Like the business owners that we do get on in Canada, they're progressive. They don't give a shit about what anyone else is doing. They see literal robots talking by themselves and doing work. Immediately they gravitate towards it because it's a lot easier to build a robot and train it to work perfectly as opposed to try and find someone competent in the Canadian labor market, train them for 3 months, and hopefully they don't quit after a half year or a year. So let's get into it a little bit. Trump deregulates AI. US invests trillions, literally trillions, into tech. Canada AI minister, like we have an AI minister now, guys. We have an AI minister that is panicking because he's seeing our businesses literally do nothing. And it's painful to watch the rest of the world get on with new technology while we sit here and we're still trying to figure out how to put up a website. And so the AI minister is pushing for critical commercialization for small and medium businesses as productive future vanishes. So Trump's AI deregulation for in the U.S. fuels a multi-year trillion-dollar tech surge. Like in the States, they don't even think about investing in tech. They just like, oh, there's something new in tech, let's do it now. Because they know, and history has shown, that tech investments lead to growth, and that growth leads to more opportunity. Quite literally, right now in the States, you can see a direct correlation between the amount of investment into AI and the growth in their GDP. Something that I wish to God our governments can start to show off to Canadians to make them think, hey guys, if you want to do more work more efficiently, faster, use technology. Don't try and figure out if you can hire someone special to do it, the job. I personally believe I'm someone special. Great. I'm so smart. I can put together websites, put together robots to do work, hire and train people. Great. Even for me, as special as I think I am, I have 4 or 5 AI terminals up all day doing work for me and completing projects because I know if I want to compete in this space, then I have to be going that hard and I have to be literally putting on the afterburners day after day to make sure we are achieving visibility. Companies can see us and we can service them because that's how fierce the competition is. But I understand that because I'm in the digital space and I can see other people. Canadians oftentimes are so enclosed in their own worlds that they think, hey, business as usual. Oh, it's a little slow this year. Oh, it's a little slower this year. Oh, it's slow. Oh, we're barely keeping up. Oh, now we're underwater. And never thinking to themselves, maybe I have to go out and change something. So for 2 years now, I've been, maybe coming on to our third year in the agency. And it is without a doubt that US clients are way more open to AI adoption, inevitably more successful because they have a higher rate of actually engaging with the solutions. Canadians were it's like threading a needle. You got to find the right person, the right organization at the right time, and then they get on board. Lo and behold, though, they still are. They're still Canadians are still waking up to the ideas like, hey, no one's coming to save me. I literally have to do this myself. And then they ask ChatGPT who can help, and they schedule an appointment with Pete Demand. Anyways, let's get into it. So in July 2025, President Trump, he unveiled a 28-page Winning the AI Race plan comprised of 3 sweeping executive orders aimed at dismantling regulatory barriers and mobilizing capital for American AI leadership. The orders collectively target federal funding mandates, environmental and permitting processes, and trade restrictions, paving the way for an unmatched surge in both public and private investment over the next 5 years. Quite literally, the tippiest top of their political structure, the president, is saying AI is critical to our infrastructure and growth over the next 5 years. Spend trillions, guys. Here we go. So this is where the idea of, they call it the woke type ideological mandates in the States. What is it called? Diversity, DEI, I can't remember what the name is called. But basically in the States, their technology production first. Let's figure out how to make people happy afterward. In Canada, it's kind of the opposite way where, well, we got to make sure everyone's happy. But I mean, our economy's dying. So are you guys happy? Like, we really need to change that way of thinking if we don't want to have a growing, portion of the middle class falling into poverty. We want to make sure that everyone's got jobs and everyone's got work to do. How do we do that? We increase productivity. So in the States, they're doing that really, really well. All the AI projects receive federal funds must eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion. There you go. Requirements from their development guidelines in effort to ensure models remain value neutral under White House definition. Streamline data center approvals by relaxing national environmental policy acts, reviews and local zoning hurdles. The plan fast tracks construction of high performance computing facilities needed to train large scale AI systems. So data centers, huge. Processors, video, all that stuff. All of that means more processing, more speed, energy requirements. Of course, there's going to be more nuclear power plants, but that all creates growth, and growth inevitably creates jobs. So for the U.S. to be investing this much into what is quite literally going to be the next frontier of, I would say, humans' societal evolution, indicates to me that they're locked into building that path, and they're quite literally going to be the arbiters of who's successful and who's not. I think they were trying to be hyper exporters of AI solutions, which is great because we use US systems to build our automations and they're very powerful. The last provision was expanded export incentives. So, administration pledges to lift or ease export controls on AI hardware and software, positioning the U.S. as a global AI export powerhouse while reducing tariffs and bureaucratic red tape. So, they're doing everything that you'd want to do to improve AI's capability over the next few years, and that's going to push them ahead tremendously when it comes to their productivity. On the private side, industry leaders have already responded in kind. One of the think tanks reports American tech giants invested over 1 trillion in AI-specific data center infrastructure during 2025 alone, as companies race to secure compute capacity for next-generation models. Looking beyond, Morgan Stanley projects almost $3 million in global data center capital expenditures through 2028, much of which is expected to flow into U.S. projects thanks to favorable deregulation climate. So you can see deregulation, AI investment, productivity goes up. Like that's the formula they're sort of going with. And even now, like I pay attention to AI stocks, do a lot of trading in AI stocks, love it. They're volatile, so they're if you play properly, you can be profitable. But in the space within the AI stocks, the infrastructure stocks, they kill it. When they go up, they don't come back down. Like there's a few of them you guys probably heard of. The ones that I watch, Eren, Nebius, they really rip on. I think Nebius has killed their earnings. It's because people are having a higher and greater appetite. Businesses, these mega corporations for AI. In Canada, our AI infrastructure is literally non-existent. We don't have the data centers capacity to process that much compute power for AI systems. And quite frankly, I don't see any major player in the world saying, hey, you know what? Canada looks like a good investment for AI infrastructure. So if that's the case where other global entities are looking at Canada as not being such a good place to invest for AI, then we're going to be an importer of AI. And that means opening up to other systems from other countries, being a little less sovereign with our data. We get a lot of people talking about data residency in this country, but it completely ignored the fact that the CRA was hacked. And I keep on stressing to our clients, you're better off using end-to-end encrypted systems that were developed in countries that have a minimum requirement for the architecture in terms of security, privacy, confidentiality, auditability for their systems, when in Canada, we don't even have those regulations because our tech environment is so slow and weak. So use stronger systems from highly regulated environments. Your automations are going to be stronger. Tip for Canadians. Meanwhile, on the public side, the White House's 2025 budget requests to earmark $3 billion for AI R&D across federal agencies. Like just within the federal agencies in the government, they're putting up $3 billion, which to me is like, it's so obvious, guys. Like we need to start doing something. With additional funding hidden within broader technology and defense appropriations, although the direct federal allocation remains in low billions when compared with private CAPEX and state incentives, total U.S. AI-related investment is on track to surpass $1 trillion cumulatively over the next 5 years, cementing America's advantage in the global AI race. I don't see America losing global AI race. In fact, I see them being the global AI superpower for quite literally ever, until someone's able to outspend them, because that's quite literally what it comes down to. And you're going to notice how many times I say quite literally. It's a lot, because that's where we're at. It's those who spend on AI make more. That's the bottom line. Canada's AI infrastructure void exacerbates productivity crisis. And I do get passionate about this part because I've lived in this country my entire life, and never have I at any point in time felt the government was doing anything for me personally. Like I don't really like, especially as a tech person, I've never ever once felt like, hey, that was a great thing you guys did. I love it. I'm gonna vote for you. Never felt that once. And I believe other tech people in this country probably feel the same. But it's so pronounced in terms of that lack of tech. And people will say, "Oh, Toronto's got a good tech industry. We got Waterloo, maybe some places in Vancouver, but nothing like the States. Like Silicon Valley is pretty much all of Canada combined when it comes to tech, and then you have everyone else." So for me to see how little we have in terms of infrastructure to latch on to this AI wave, it does upset me, but at least it makes me conscious enough to say, hey, you know what? we have to piggyback on these US systems if we want to keep up. So while the US rushes ahead with massive compute buildouts, Canada remains without a dedicated AI infrastructure fund or clear pathway to scale its digital backbone. The vacuum not only stalls AI adoption, but compounds a broader productivity malaise that Canada has struggled with for years. Canada's productivity challenges stem from systemic underinvestment across both core and digital infrastructure. So GDP per capita in 2023, Canada ranked 48th amongst US states in GDP per person, trailing all but Arkansas, and no province broke into the top half of US jurisdictions, highlighting a long-standing output deficit. So literally our country is underperforming in terms of GDP versus almost every state in the US. I don't know how that makes you, as a Canadian, that makes me feel shamed. Like I feel ashamed when I look at something like that. And then I think to myself, well, you know, it's your fault. You stayed here in this country, and so you sort of have to bear the responsibility of that. And I think to myself, well, let's go even deeper. When it comes to our agencies, we only take US dollars. All of our costs are in US dollars. We only take US dollars because if the business wants to stay viable and sustainable over time, we have to keep pace with those systems and those infrastructures and the fiat currency that powers them. So we'll take Ether as well. Capital formation shortfall. Canada's firms invest 1.5 times less fixed capital per worker than, than American counterparts. In high-tech sectors like ICT, U.S. companies spend around $80,000 per employee on machinery and equipment, just $15,000 in Canada, a five-fold disparity that directly limits digital scale projects. Infrastructure drag, chronic underfunding of housing, transit, healthcare facilities, energy grids, places an additional strain on businesses, diverting resources away from innovation and squeezing out productivity. That's kind of true. I mean, we have a mega real estate industry, mega healthcare, but again, when you get into those industries, they're very, you know, tech aversive. So it's like the big industries with a lot of people, but there's no technology, and so productivity is lacking. Another thing we notice, especially in healthcare, we have some healthcare facilities that would rather hire 3 to 4 receptionists for God knows like $40,000-$50,000 a year than build one AI agent that can do everything at a fraction of the cost, just because they haven't done it before. Like we're so used to like, let's throw cheap humans at the problem until it goes away and see if we can be profitable. It doesn't work anymore, guys. Our economy is quite literally screaming at us saying, hey guys, stop throwing cheap labor at serious problems, get serious technology, be more efficient. I'm very much hoping that business owners start to recognize that. But again, 30 years of housing prices going up and doing business as usual, it's kind of hard to change your mindset. But I guess a housing crash might do it for you. At the same time, experts estimate that generative AI alone could contribute roughly $200 billion to Canada GDP by 2030, about 7% of current output. If only the country had the compute capacity and capital formation to deploy models at scale. Without strategic investments in data centers, high performance clusters, and semiconductor partnerships, however, this vast economic opportunity risks slipping through Canada's fingers. I'm pretty sure it's off in the wind at this point. But again, I make these videos for Canadians who want to survive the next 5-10 years in their business if they're just getting started, or if you're doing really well and you want to see if you can scale and grow more, hire more people, get into AI. We're all about growth. Like our AI SEO programs quite literally start working after a month just because of how low the visibility is for some of these businesses we're working with. So, if you're looking for more revenue, go for AI. If you're looking to save money, go for AI. It's so obvious, but it's new, so it's hard to acclimate to if you're a Canadian. And the states are a lot more prone to risk taking, and the rewards are there. Adding insult to injury, Ottawa's response has been limited to advisory critical commercialization programs for small medium enterprises, offering workshop, networking events, and regulatory toolkits without the accompanying grants or infrastructure support. So our government, our AI minister says, hey guys, we're in a critical situation. We need critical commercialization of AI in this country. Here's some workshops. Here's some networking events. Try to figure it out. But we're not going to give you any money because we don't have money. So it's really you'll fend for yourself. You're on your own in this world of AI as a Canadian, and I know that very much because when I started the agency and I was trying to get help in understanding the technology, there was no one, and it turned out that I will have to be that guy. And lo and behold, 3 years later, we're building robots for all sorts of different businesses. So for me, like if you have questions, if you want to get into the nitty gritty and the weeds of it, book a discovery call. We'll see what you have going on. We'll see if we can find you a use case that's ROI positive immediately. But if you're just swamped and underwater and you just need help, discovery case or discovery call, find use cases, we'll figure it out for you. And and it's funny because the starting blocks for AI adoption, it's really hard. But once you get past that, it's a downhill sprint towards your goals. So I really hope more Canadians see this. They really, if you're afraid, be afraid. I was afraid when I started too, and I can tell you right now, the first 10 seconds of using ChatGPT filled me with dread because I was looking at the last 15 years of my life saying, oh my God, people can do what I literally spent 15 years of my life doing in 20 seconds. And then as time passed, I realized no one was doing it. What are we waiting for, guys? There's this productivity machine that is right here sitting for us, and it's free. It's ChatGPT. My productivity went up 100-fold, and what's what allowed me to literally lift the business off the ground, build a team, and start putting up big projects. Was AI. So I always encourage business owners, even people working for businesses, use AI more. You will do more faster. Let's see. As a result, Canadian innovators face a dual burden of outdated physical infrastructure and an absence of digital scale resources, leaving them ill-equipped to compete in the fast-moving AI economy. Critical commercialization for SMEs falls short. This is really this for me is like to hear those types of words. Critical commercialization means we're at a breaking point. We need to do something. Well, I mean, you guys should do something. If you want to book a discovery call with us, we'll literally figure it out for you. No problem. Canada's first AI minister, Evan Solomon, has championed a shift from heavy-handed regulation towards harnessing the technology's economic benefits, dubbing it critical commercialization. So we are seeing that sentiment of hyper-regulation, you guys into submission where you don't do anything, to, you know what, let's be a little bit more economical. Let's pull back the reins a little bit. And just make some money because we really need it. So I'm glad to see that sentiment is there. But again, where's the grants? Where are if you guys started to get grants and say, hey, here's $5,000, $10,000 for your next AI project, you're going to see ROI come through the door so quickly. So if you're trying to get the government to do anything, investing in tech, investing in your business, I would say that's a great platform. I'd vote for whoever was doing that. Workshops and toolkits, virtual sessions on AI best practices, model selection, implementation frameworks, valuable for raising awareness, but insufficient without capital to invest in hardware, software license, integration services. Integration services is number one. Integrating AI agents into other legacy, old, crummy Canadian systems. That's what we do. And I can tell you right now, the looks on the business owner or the operations lead's faces when they realize they don't have to deal with these trash systems anymore and an AI agent can do it. That's what I do this for. Just the look of, oh my gosh, it's freedom. It's like this look of, we don't have to deal with these crummy systems anymore ever because we have a robot doing it 24/7. That, to me, that feeling that they get, I mean, we pull in revenue, but that feeling that comes from the business owners, Canadians, that's what I'm looking for, because that just shows that there's hope and there's a path to victory for us, and we're not all lost. Networking forums, periodic events, connecting SMEs with vendors and large AI companies, designed to foster partnerships but lacking seed grant incentives to pilot real world solutions. Again, like network, we like to do a lot of talking, but we don't do anything. So it's important that we actually do use case ideations, pin them down, roadmap implementation, roadmap integration, touch points on recalibration. Like, these are all things that go on with AI projects. that are just in the wind for most Canadians. Regulatory guidance. High-level toolkits on data protection and privacy compliance meant to protect people's data, yet no subsidies or tax credits accompany these guidelines to offset the cost of secure deployments. So it's like, again, we're giving all these toolkits, virtual sessions, but actually there's actually nothing being done. People don't actually get into it. You know what the saddest thing for me is, on the municipality side? They are by far, the municipalities in this country, in Canada, by far the most in need of AI solutions of anyone. Lowest when it comes to hiring and retention, highest churn rates when it comes to those entry level roles like answering the phone. And some of these municipalities we spoke to, where they had managers and directors answering mundane customer service calls coming into the city when they're getting paid however much to do their role. So for me to see Canadian municipalities, like literally the backbone of service for a small town or city, they're scrambling to even maintain any semblance of structure, and not efficient at all. And their CAOs, a lot of them are like, oh, well, AI doesn't work. No, we're not going to get into AI. And it's like, I think to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, Alex, this is really what's hurting our country. The decision makers who are in positions to adopt AI, they're still living like it's the 1970s, where they're thinking, oh, we barely need a website. So I implore you, if you are a city councilor or you run a municipality, one poor guy, and this is a really sad story. We had a demo done for a municipality in Canada a couple of years ago for a voice agent. We put literally their demo for them on YouTube. And at that time, the person who was looking after the department, they weren't able to get anything over the line or any meaningful traction for the project. I said, no problem. Most municipalities don't. We ended up, leaving the YouTube video up there, continuing on with our work. And after about maybe a year and a half, discovery call came in from the municipality that we did the demo for. It was a new guy, younger guy, really wanting to bring innovation to the city. Thought that AI would be a great place to just do basic customer service stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, you're great. We need more of you in Canada. You're exactly the type of person that is your ideal adopter, because you're bringing efficiency to a municipality or a business at a fraction of the cost of what it would be to try and hire and train and figure it out with people. So that's great. I would love to see it. So we were getting into exactly what he wanted in terms of a prototype. And I got to say, his use case was amazing for a municipality. Absolute banger of a use case. I'm like, I thought to myself, if every municipality were to have AI workflow like this, the streamlining of operations and administration would be off the charts. And so we started to work on a prototype to him to do the demonstration the day before the demonstration of the prototype. So he didn't get to see the product that he wanted. He didn't get to see like a demonstration of sort of the idea that he wanted. The day before, I get an email from him saying, hey, we had a conversation with management and we won't be going forward with any AI projects, period. And that is the problem. The people who are in the decision-making roles for a lot of municipalities, even businesses, they're not so in tune with technology. They don't understand how powerful it is. Not used to spending money on tech. They're used to spending money on salaries, and they completely overlook it. And there's no wonder why our country is hurting in terms of GDP. It's because the people who are supposed to be making the decisions on innovation and growth, they're sitting there on their hands doing nothing. So I can see that. And being on the front lines, being in these meetings, I know that's happening. And I implore you, if you're a Canadian and you're in a position of power, be that change of force for your organization. The rest of the world is doing it like crazy. And if you're a Canadian and you haven't done something monumental with your technology or your digital infrastructure in the last few years, do something. You will change the fabric of your organization. I promise you. Back to this guy, stepwise regulation promise. Solomon has acknowledged that regulation will have to be assembled in steps, but no interim funding programs or pilot projects or grants have been announced. Again, we're so big into regulate. Oh, we need to regulate this, regulate that. We're not even doing anything to regulate. We have no AI regulations in this country because no one's using it. And that's something I have to explain to everyone on the demos. Canada has no AI regulations. The US has a single AI regulation, and even that one's very flimsy. The reason why we don't have AI regulations is because Canadians don't use AI, so there's nothing to regulate. You're okay, guys. They're not going to regulate you for using AI. They want you to use it. And I have to quite literally bend the arms of Canadians just to think, use more technology, use it more. You will do better. So the broader implications of what all of this means is as Trump deregulates AI and unleashes massive multi-year spending that reshapes competitive landscapes, US tech supremacy accelerates, cementing America's firms' leadership in cloud AI services, chip manufacturing, global AI export markets. I am a hyper importer of US AI. Love it. Will continue to do it probably until the day I die, just because of how effective it is. I have infused AI into everything in my life, and as a business person, I'm becoming far more productive. But just as a person in general, I feel like I'm accomplishing more on a regular basis, and that makes me feel good. And I like feeling good, so I like using AI. Canadian brain drain risk looms as researchers, engineers, and startups migrate south to access world-class compute infrastructure, regulate and regulatory certainty. This is the one thing that I'm stubborn for. I'm a Canadian at heart. I'm not going to move to the States. I'll go visit the States. Maybe have a property out there one day if I really wanted to. Get something in Florida because I love Florida. But for the people trying to find jobs that maybe they don't have a business, they'll go right to the States right away if they're into AI. So this lack of investment into AI in Canada, it's discouraging those who are techie from staying here. So more and more as each year passes, we have less technically inclined people working on projects or just having an agency or what have you. I think like as a competitive person, hey, less competitors, more business for us. Great. But the overall sentiment towards technology takes a hit when you don't have three or four tech companies to choose from, when you don't have all these grants coming from the government. So it is difficult. International influence wanes with Canada's weak infrastructure commitments, undermining its credibility and ability to shape global AI standards and governments. It's so funny because Canada was, I think, AI largely was incepted in Canada. We have some of the grandfathers of AI in this country saying things like, "Oh, we have to hyper regulate it. It's going to become dangerous," just spouting fear like nonstop. There's and even the some of the articles coming from news media outlets, like if for Canadians, I'm seeing like, "Oh, the risk to AI, risk to agentic AI, risk this, risk that, risk this, risk that," and it's like, if you keep telling everyone it's a risk, they're never going to use it. But the idea is that if you don't take any risks, you're at risk of not being able to keep up. So we got to change the mentality and sentiment around AI. Like ChatGPT conversation is not risky. Just have a conversation. If you don't want to have ChatGPT train on your information, get a paid account. Canadians must demand that Ottawa back critical commercialization rhetoric with tangible investments. And this is where I say, guys, no one's coming to help you. I know I haven't heard anyone in the Canadian government mention the two letters AI in any meaningful way in the last few years. Justin Trudeau, I think, put together a fund for 2.4 billion for AI infrastructure as a last gasp of life into this the tech of the economy. But I don't even think anything came of that. Very few businesses that we speak to are even aware of that. We had to at that time 2 years ago show, hey, Justin Trudeau's even trying for AI. No one liked him, but he was trying something. I haven't heard Mark Carney say a word on it, but again, I don't pay attention to him. He bores me. Data center and compute grants to establish a domestic AI backbone. I really doubt that'll ever happen. I think we're just going to come up with a strategy to leverage our neighbors in the States, US, maybe provide them with energy through our energy grid. But when it comes to AI infrastructure, it's become too expensive for us. Like we literally don't even have the money to start, so we have to borrow. And that means data residency is something that Canadians are going to have to contend with, data sovereignty, all these ideas of, yeah, the data must stay in our country. The data must stay within our borders. Like, what kind of 1980s thinking is that? Guys, as soon as you open up a Microsoft or Google account, you're using cross border data handling. Come on. It's like really, really obvious at this point in time. But I guess if you're in the business of technology for like me for 15, 20 years, it is. The average Canadian's not going to really know that. Well, hopefully you'll learn something here. Pilot funding for small and medium enterprises, especially in tech-driven sectors, to spur real-world AI adoption. Like for our team, we quite literally have to give away stuff. We have to give perks here. We have to give free stuff here to sweeten the pot for Canadians because they're just not used to spending money on tech. And then all of a sudden, once they get the technology, they're like, "Holy shit, Alex! What else can we do with this stuff?" I love that. I love seeing that feeling on our clients' faces. It's that holy shit moment where what have I been missing out on? And then they're stuck for life with us. Tax incentives and R&D credits that unlock private capital for high performance AI projects. Again, these are all lofty ambitions that we're going to have to rely on our government for, which I highly doubt. You guys are going to be on your own, just like, I mean, I don't want to say just like I was, because my journey through the tech space was very much a solo journey. And then people join you as they see you power up over time. But if you're a tech savvy person and you want to say, hey, maybe I can join a team or get into the AI space, definitely book a discovery call with us. We're always looking to grow. But if you're a business in Canada and you're worried you're not keeping up with technology, even basic stuff like CRM stuff, or you don't know how to do a website or search engine optimization, just like very low level tech stuff, book a discovery call. We'll show you. We'll show you some of the extremely affordable programs we have now. Because we have AI doing so much work, we can make it affordable for Canadians. If you're American, you're going to pay. We'll see if we can make it affordable for you too. But for Canadians, we make it extremely easy. Some of the sources we used here. If you want to contact our team, call and speak to Sasha. If you call and speak to Sasha, the world of this technology will be brought right to the forefront from you. You'll understand. You can also email her. Our whole team will see it. But I'm really looking forward to doing more videos like this because I truly feel like if this type of conversation is going to stir the pot a little bit, get people emotional, like, oh, I don't like Trump, or I don't like Carney, or I love Trump, I love Carney. But wherever your feelings are at, it's going to cause you to make a decision whether or not you want to adhere to the technology that's being thrust into our world every day, or maybe you want to sit back, put your head in the sand and watch the world pass you by. Making a decision is the best thing you can do when it comes to the future of your operations or even just your own lifestyle. If you're just someone random off the YouTube watching this video and you're just curious about AI in Canada, open up ChatGPT, have some conversations with it, and say things that you might not say to a normal person or when you're asking for help. And I always tease the guys that I'm working with. I always ask them, why are you thinking? Why are you trying to figure things out? Consult with the superhuman machine that can think it all out for you. You'll get to your decisions a lot faster, and with more decisions, you'll get more results. With that being said, I actually enjoyed this one. It's a little less dry, a little bit more colorful. If you like what you heard or saw in this YouTube video, please drop a like or subscribe. Really appreciate it. I think we're past 50 subscribers now. That's super fun. I love to see more people getting into the AI conversation. If you need help with any sort of AI automations, or you're developing an AI infrastructure, or even if your team is on the brink of an RFI and you're looking at what sort of capabilities for AI has amongst your departments or enterprise, please let me know. That we're seeing a lot of enterprise teams going, what do we do? How should we start? Capability heat mapping, great way to start for departmentally, just to see what kinds of technology is available and what types of AI systems have matured to match the needs of your use cases. And we can go through all of those in ideation workshops. But now I'm just talking business. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye now.